A buyer submits earnest money with their offer to purchase a property. At closing, that money comes back to the buyer. If the sale does not close for any number of reasons, perhaps the inspection reveals a condition issue that the seller refuses to repair, or perhaps something happens and the buyer's loan is not approved by the lender, or let's say that in trying to secure insurance, the buyer finds out that because of past claims the seller made, insurance is going to be extremely high for the property. If any of those things happen, the buyer can leave the transaction without penalty and get that earnest money back. And old tradition suggests that the earnest money should be around 1% of the purchase price. But if the buyer does not close the transaction for one of those reasons, the seller gets to keep that earnest money. Just in the past month, I got notice a day before closing that a buyer was refusing to close on a property, even though all that due diligence period was passed and all of those contingency hurdles had been jumped. As upsetting as that was for our seller, we have to find some way forward, right? So I let the buyer's agent know we are not going to return the earnest money to the buyer, and I also let them know that my seller might take them to small claims court to cover additional expenses that they had incurred because of the failed transaction. Much to my surprise, the buyer very quickly agreed to return that earnest money to my seller, and also they made an additional payment for those expenses my seller had incurred above and beyond the amount of the earnest money. Now, in reality, there are very few ways for a buyer to lose their earnest money in a real estate transaction, but as you can see, it does happen.